Hello again. All right. Whoops. Just pulled the earplug out of my ear. Ear headphone? Jesus. What planet am I from? Hi, everyone. What's up, Garfield? Uh, let's see. What the hell were we doing? I remember I was getting super... There, we had several, I feel like, revelations that kind of made my brain shrivel up right at the end of the last stream. But I don't remember what they are right now. It's probably protective amnesia. It's not because I just have terrible memory. That would be crazy. That would be... That just doesn't make sense. This feels like... Hollow Bastion, to be honest. Anytime I'm in, like, a... weird sort of... Oh... Oh, I feel like Anakin. Younglings. I killed him on accident. Go for a little dip. I think I missed a shortcut. But I might need to go back through this just to, like, refresh myself. I guess it's a good thing, too. I wake up and I feel like Anakin. Seek help. Anakin is one of the most tragic figures. Oh, it's up to Hit Good. So it seems you've been enjoying DS3. Yes, I have. From like a lore standpoint especially, this game just has some really fun stuff to like dissect, I feel like. So yeah, this was one of the shortcuts. Especially when he got disarmed in lava. Wait, who got disarmed in lava? The Terminator? I guess that was technically metal, but whatever. I think. I don't remember. Anyone remember the end of Terminator 2? Oh, disarmed in lava, Anakin? Okay, good. I was hoping that that was like a play on disarmed. Oh, so you wake up and you feel like Anakin when he's clawing himself up on the beach going, "I hate you!" That's what you, that's the mood. You know what? I feel that. Vibes. These video games are frying your brain, kid. Joke's on you. My brain's already fried. So, double jeopardy. I'm safe. Let's see all these thralls. Get me out of this mysterious, thick, white goop. I don't need to know what it is. Just get it off me. Sticky white stuff. Yeah, we can also call it that. I'm gonna assume it's webbing. Or wax. It's wax. Gotta be wax. just taking big loads of wax. Elmer's glue. That's awesome. I'm also like imagining like, could you make a candle out of Elmer's glue? Like, I don't think so. I don't think it's like the same substance as wax, but like, I'm sure, and you know, it doesn't have to be good. I'm just sort of interested in. I mean, it would hold a wick. Hmm. It would probably need to be something that, because something I didn't know. This is gonna sound maybe really obvious if you already knew, or maybe you'll be surprised like I was. Apparently, the wax in a candle is the fuel. For some reason, I just sort of assumed as a kid that the wick was what was being burned, and like the wax was like just slowing it down or something. I never really thought too hard about candles. No, the wax gets like pulled up through the wick through like science, and yeah, it burns the wax. It's made from fat. Oh, wax is made from fat. Okay, that makes sense. Oh yeah, like tallow? Tallow? Is that from? No, that's from. Well, that's bone. I just made a circle like twice. It's the same circle too, right? Yeah. Yeah. Do I get? Tallow is beef fat. Wow, so I was just marrow is what I was thinking of. I wasn't even. Let's all just act like none of that happened for my sake. What's up, last protagonist? Makes sense because you see wax dripping down. Didn't know the wax was the fuel that the wick shoots it up. Like the bones of the undead. The wax feeds the fire. Yes, yeah. And I think, okay, so technically, I know I said it's because science. I didn't really want to explain it per se. I guess I won't, but the process that the candles use, it's called capillary action, I think, or capillary something like that. It's the same process that trees kind of use to pull water up through their roots. They kind of create like a partial vacuum at the top, and it pulls stuff up from the bottom. In this case, you're burning what's at the end, whereas trees just release water through their stomata. Yeah, I like biology. It's funny. Different animals have different names for their fat. Tallow's beef, lard is pork, schmaltz is chicken fat. Interesting. The schmaltz, I'm gonna guess that is that maybe used for Jewish things? Because I've never even heard of that, and like, it's suspiciously close to like schmutz. If I see like the sh and a z sound, I'm gonna guess it's some Yiddish going on. I'm schwitzing. Schmaltz and schwitzing and your schmutz. Where? Okay, I need to figure out. At least all the enemies are gone. I can use them as like breadcrumbs. I'll just follow the trail of dead bodies to a place where there are living bodies for me to kill, thus leaving myself more breadcrumbs. It is primarily, but it's German in origin. Oh, that's right. Okay, so there must be something I missed here. Maybe not necessarily here, but can see that I went this way. All right. Well, that does make sense, because I'm pretty sure I would imagine Yiddish has a bit of a German origin, because there were probably a lot of German immigrants to other countries for some reason. Who knows? Who knows what the cost was? Oh, my cat is screaming. Okay, so I came from there. I need to go down? No. Maybe I've just explored. Oh, wait. Up there, right? Like, certain. Alright. That looks like an important place. Ah, living people. Become breadcrumbs. Yeah, so I guess the wax is burned, so they aren't. I wonder what the wax... So wax is made from... fat. Oh, wait, so... So you could... Okay, so you could maybe make a candle from tallow. Okay. Since beef fat is a kind of fat, I assume. Oh my god. Your mom is a kind of fat, I assume. That's awesome. I don't even care about the burn. You gotta respect it. Okay, so this is, of course not, because candles are meant to burn. Well, I'm not a candle at the moment, so your joke doesn't even make sense. And everyone knows that jokes have to make sense for them to be funny. Goodbye. Oh. Thought you would just kind of... Yep. Off the... Oh man, I was hoping for like a ragdoll off the side of a mountain, kind of... Whatever. I'm not disappointed. Oh, you said you didn't care about the burn? Candles are meant to burn. Me explaining the joke makes it funnier, you see. Oh, I do see. That is quite humorous. Too. Let me get past these guys quickly, hopefully. I'm thinking they won't be much of a problem. Yike. Where's the other one? Did he leave? Don't tell me. I was... He actually jumped off and I wasn't even watching. Moment was taken from me. Here we are talking about candles. Right, okay, so candles are in a way made from the dead. Parts of them. Oh my god. Holy crap. If I hadn't been running, I don't think I would have survived that. Jesus. Okay, so candles are made from the dead. So I'm almost wondering if the wax, yeah, is meant to burn so you don't. Like, it's almost sort of like a sacrificial protection. The funny thing is, at the end of the last stream, I mentioned how crystals and dark burn the candle at both ends in regard to curses. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right, and like... So that is something I've kind of had trouble, I think, wrapping my head around. Like, what exactly life and darkness, the thing that is being burned, like, I don't fully understand what that is. Is that, like, the soul, or is that, like... Like, I do kind of understand, like, the result, sort of. Like, you know, I understand sort of what's... It seems like, you know, something inside of them is being sort of... And also, they become crystals at the end, right? Like, isn't that what curse normally does? Like, you, sort of encased in... Okay, I'm glad that I wasn't as defensive as I wanted to be there. I kept kind of, like, backing off, and I don't think that would have ended well for me. Where... Why does this feel... like I've been here? Ooh, juicy lore. It's a mixture of rationality and desire, perhaps. So you're saying, oh, like, sort of maybe, like, the mind is... or something inside the mind is being burned? Like, I guess, perhaps something related to their wit, to people's wits? Like, maybe that's kind of why they end up being hollow, potentially. Hmm. That is actually really interesting. Okay, okay, this is where I think I'm supposed to be going. Dark is an unthinking desire, drawn like moths to a flame. And souls might be tied to rationality and clarity, IDK, ironically. That is very ironic. Oh my god. That is so annoying. If I had just remembered to take that shortcut. Alright, but this is why we took the slow way. I'm all caught up now. I think I don't have enough to... Oh, I almost do have enough to level up, actually. Okay, so dark is an unthinking desire, drawn like moths to a flame. Souls might be tied to rationality. Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of thought of them as potentially being, like, collections of, like, memories or something. But, I mean, at least that's how I kind of see them in Elden Ring. They feel, like, very, very similar. Like, I guess, in between the series. Just, like, kind of what a soul is, sort of, kind of.
Speak that very well, then touch, take nourish.
Might be too general of a statement. Didn't Souls represent clarity in Demon
Farewell,
Souls? I
familiar
need to
flame.
play Demon Souls. Uh, that is interesting though. And I think that would make sense with Elden Ring, because like yeah, everyone ends up witless. Where? Yes, okay. And the ability to think. Yeah, okay, so willpower, I guess. Like, souls, I think are more or less willpower, maybe. Oh, maybe it's burning away your willpower. Willpower is like maybe the ability to act, but then light and darkness are... They consume that willpower to make things happen. Wish I could play Demon Souls, but I'm an Xbox player. I've seen it on PS5. Is it on the PS4? I don't have a PS5. Because that was like the last time I sort of was really kind of, I guess, into consoles. I haven't done much console stuff since I got a PC. I kind of got hooked. You need dark to have desire and purpose. If you have too much dark, it can consume you. If you have too many souls but not enough dark, you still may not have any purpose to keep you anchored. Like Flynn in Dark Souls 2. Don't remember who that is right now. I am playing through Dark Souls 2 right now, but yeah. Many souls. Is the merchant in Majula? Oh, who says he wants the guy from the east? He starts selling all the like boss armor and stuff. Yeah, if you give him enough souls, he says he's rich, he'll laughs, and then forgets where his home is. That's right. The guy that sits like this. Like the one character. Oh, hi, June. June might be joining the chat soon. Oh my god, too many people. Too many dudes on the dance floor. Too many dudes. Okay. Oh, Jesus, almost. Let's see. Seath and Logan also go mad after they peer into the souls. Right, like they whatever is related to crystals in terms of like the soul anyway. Because it feels like lots of sorcerers study the soul in all kinds of ways, but there's something about the crystal sorceries that like Logan that made Logan kind of go mad. It kind of reminds me of like the primeval current, the way that everybody that touches it kind of just goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I always assume he's cocky because he's forgetting sooner, and he thinks he has many customers when it's really just you buying everything. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because he also kind of forgets who we are. So like, and he stops like kind of like appreciating our business. He's just sort of like, yeah, I'm selling mad clothing. Don't know who's buying it, but I keep waking up and there's more gone, and just piles of money next to it, so I assume I'm doing good work. Yikes. Oh no, that's not good. Please don't shoot me with an arrow. Excellent. Seath is also associated with the moon. That's right. Which, has a lot of associations with madness. It's where the term lunatic comes from. If you guys don't know, like lunar, lunatic. People used to think that if you fell asleep under a full moon, you'd, like, go mad. Among other, like, that was... Wow, yeah, good job getting ready there, champ. Good job buffing your weapon up there. Oh my god. Damn, that was so close. I should have healed. Okay. Seath is also associated with the moon. That's right, lunacy. Made this whole ass run a few times before realizing there was a shortcut elevator. Oh, like this one? I just... I don't... You probably just saw me a second ago. I was dumb enough to have to relearn this whole thing. And something I realized, by the way, I don't, and for anyone that wasn't in my, I think this is where I said it in the last stream. Or I think the last stream is where I said it. Seath, I think, kind of technically made something along the lines of like a primal glintstone. Like he made a crystal that, you know, kept him from really dying. Like, I mean, it doesn't work the exact same way, but it's like a similar concept at the very least. And I actually have thought that it's possible that the moon was related to how the astrologers might have gained sorcery and primal glintstone, and knowledge of primal glintstones. And since I found out Seath is the creator of sorcery in Dark Souls, that's made me happy. Oops. No. Cool. The one near the fog gate, it bypasses all enemies. Oh, yeah, I don't think I've been that far yet. If I have, I'm gonna be mad. And even in Elden Ring, there's actually sort of interesting connections between the moon and madness, at least in the way that, like, they are the only ones that have, like, a spell that specifically cures, like, madness. Sleep as well, but lucidity is a Karian spell. Ah. Amazing. finally. Ooh, he's candy. This is awesome. This place is really, really cool. What are those things along the side? Do I have binoculars? They're like holding something? Books? Books. Boo! That's boring nerd shit. Books is for nerds. Also, when you reach the floor, send the elevator up, but don't ride it. Okay, good to know. I will do that when I heal, or when I get back to it. Where the hell? This is the way back, right? Feel like... Yes, okay, this is the one. One of the ones, anyway. Okay, well, I don't need to get all the way back to it now. I am going to go level up real quick, then shortcut my way back up there.
Welcome, husband. Very that Haken.
Let these souls withdrawn from their vessels, manifestations of disparity, elucidated by fire,
Hmm.
within them, retreating.
I might... No, I'll take some more damage.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the
That's not the right one. Was a wimp about Iron Keep last night, just despawned everyone along the run to Smelter Demon. You mean like you fought them so many times that they didn't like spawn anymore? That was absolutely what I think ended up... Yeah, yes. Okay, that's pretty much... I ended up doing that on a lot of my runbacks. Not necessarily like on purpose. I just sort of like to fight the enemies along the way for like the experience. But I think the Smelter Demon was one of the runs where I ended up clearing all the enemies there because of just how many times I was getting wrecked. Oh yeah, you can kind of hear my cat in the background going crazy. She has like a little spring. She bats around. I did it on purpose. Oh, did the actual run to Smelter twice, one time clearing it and one time trying to run it. Instead of F it, just cleared it instead. I learned the run in Vanilla, but the run in Scholar is absurd. Really? I was not that familiar of, like... Or I am not that familiar, I guess, of the differences. With the differences. What the... Sorry, I know I've already been there for sure, but that was just a really cool place. What other weird stuff can I do to pass the time? Oh, wait, that's right, that was this elevator. Forgot to send the elevator up without yourself on it. I did. Alright. Now. Oh, I see. Lift ahead, but down required ahead. Interesting. This looks very familiar. I might have found this once before, but I don't know. A lot of big world, lot of lifts. Titanite slab, not bad. Can I pull the... Oh, have I already... I've already pulled this lever? Up ahead, so do I need to maybe do that? Oh, that's just to pull the... It's just to bring the elevator back down here, obviously. Okay, well, at least I'll know for sure. Scholar versus Vanilla is mostly differences in enemy and item placement, but there's also a few differences in enemy AI. Scholar adds a ton more Pursuer encounters and petrified statues to block access to places. That makes sense because there are a lot of those. Like, it felt like there were a little too many. I've had people explain the differences to me a couple times, but Dark Souls 2 just kind of sounds like crazy in general. I looked up like what happens in like New Game Plus runs and stuff, and the fact that you get different drops from bosses on future runs is kind of cool, but also insane. And I think that there's like certain NPCs and enemy placement, number of hazards or enemies. Earthen Peak has seemingly double the number of poison jars around the area. Is that why that area is so like... Oh, Jesus. Wow. Okay. I was gonna send the lift back down, because I figured I would probably die up here. Yeah, there's like a stupid number of poison jars. It just feels like so annoying. Why is Scholar kind of like weird? Now I feel like I kind of need to play Dark Souls 2 just to get the difference. It's like... God, I almost did it again. I would have been moderately too... I'm trying to think of a word that's like above moderate, that isn't extreme. Extra moderate? Iron Keep has maybe 40% fewer Alone Knights in the area.
Contender. Welcome, unkindled one, purloiner of cinders. Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none. The fire-linking curse, the legacy of lords, let it all fade into nothing. You've done quite enough. Now have your rest.
Forget what is wrong with Lothric. Sorry, Lorien. Oh god. I get that, like, they're... Oh, did he give up part of himself to, like, allow Lothric to be not lame? Oh, I should have prepped for this more.
But you may rest here too, if you like.
All the feathers. Are the feathers from... Oh, I had the fire absorption. Okay. Oh, no, that's not the way. so maybe I still have his soul. God, I hope I don't have to wait for this. Oh, I totally do. Cool, didn't notice. Okay. Yeah, let's just both agree to go our separate ways. The feathers are Lothric's, I think. Because he's an angel. Interesting. He is an angel. Settled down far away to watch the fire. A curse makes their souls nearly inseparable. Yeah, it feels like it's eating away at Lorien in a much more severe way than it is for Lothric. But it feels like Lorien can't even think or stand. And I think that Lothric... So, yeah, Lorien... Did Lorien give up parts of himself, I think, to make Lothric whole? Because I want to say Lorien was like... Sorry. Jeez, I'm getting their names all mixed up. Lothric was born... Wait, they were twins. So, or maybe twin here has a different meaning. There is an angelic faith in Lothric Castle. Yes, there, did they see me? There was some spell... Incantation... that... I got... Oh, there it is. Divine Pillars of Light. Miracle of Gertrude, the Heavenly Daughter. The Queen's Holy Maiden Gertrude was visited by an angel who revealed this tale to her. Despite losing both her sight and her voice, she was determined to record the tale. Ordinary men cannot decipher her fragmentary scrawl nor comprehend how it became the foundation of the angelic faith in Lothric. See, I always assumed that that angel was like one of those butterfly things, but I'm not even totally sure what those things are. Oh, I could not find him for some reason. That was lucky. Okay, not bad, not bad. Oh, no. I'm always, like, a little bit slow on that. I don't know why it always looks like it's going to be just, like, a little bit slower than it is. Maybe it's the way he, like, changes his momentum, or his, Oh! I'm glad that I gauged the length of that sword correctly. His tempo is the word I was looking for. The way he changes his tempo while fighting. The way they can teleport is a lot like... Gwendolyn, I think. Are they related to Gwendolyn?
Oh, dear brother. I'm on my way.
Alright, now let's literally just become the twinned set of Dee and his brother.
Unyielding sword of Lothric's prince.
I is the prince even called Lothric?
For
Or am I...
that is our curse.
Wait, you say rise? Rise again, for that is our curse? So, I get that they share a soul. So maybe it's just, maybe he was just saying, like, as long as one of them lives, so does the other? Damn. Oh, okay. I guess that is sort of how the boss fight works. That scared the crap out of me. Or wait, okay, so the younger prince is Lothric. When Lothric dies, the battle ends, right? Should have done that.
This spot marks our grave, but you may rest here too, if you like.
A lot of theories that Guinevere is their mother. It's kind of related to Gwendolyn, possibly. I guess I don't know about mother because of the timeline, but I'm also bad at the. I don't claim to understand the timeline that well. Would it make sense for her to be, for them to be like, you know, something like more several generations removed or something? Because, okay, actually, yeah, another thing related to Gwendolyn is, like, the fact that Gwendolyn seems to be, like, two opposing things in one form. Like, moon and sun, male and female, and, Lothric and Lorien are also, you know, two kind of, I guess they're being depicted, I feel like, as opposites. Like, one of them is strong of mind and the other one is strong of body. Kind of like, it's very, very similar to Melania and, oh, this was not the correct one, was it? Very similar to Melania and Mikola. But also, like, Dee and his twin brother. I guess both twins, but people just don't really age in Dark Souls. Either could make sense. I know, I'm especially since, you know, she's a god. So, like, I don't have a problem with that per se, but, like, I guess I just, I mean, I know she, like, ran away. I don't know, I would need to look into that. Because I do have some weird suspicions about, like, Rosaria and Guinevere. But I don't know what to make of them. So, you know, we can get some of Guinevere's, like, I think, signature, miracles from Rosaria's soul, I think, which is weird. There's a closer bonfire, by the way. Oh, there is? Oh, is the Dragon Slayer armor one closer? I was kind of wondering about that, but I keep forgetting. Yep, okay, thanks. I will make sure I go to that one after this fight. Oh, damn, that's not fair, you hid.
This spot
Damn, that was
marks our
stupid of me.
grave, but you may rest here too, if you like.
Hmm. Just like the way that he walks on his knees is really interesting. It kind of reminds me of like Albinaurics and stuff too. In the way that their legs kind of stop working, or I guess disappear. Not this way. Right? Oh, it's that way. That's right, because I remember seeing this statue and being like, oh, that's cool. Anyway. That sword looks familiar. I guess it's maybe just a sword. Glad that I sent this elevator back down. Okay, so... trying to remember some of the stuff that, I guess I have it right here. Need dark to have desire, but if you have too much desire and purpose, but if you have too much dark, it can consume you. Too many souls, not enough dark. May not have any purpose to keep you anchored. Right, and that makes sense, because, especially since I think in Elden Ring especially... well, no, it's the whole thing in Dark Souls. Like, having purpose is, like, what keeps you from going, like, hollow.
This spot
I am just being dumb.
but
My brain
you
was
may
in lore
rest
mode.
here too, if you like.
Hmm. This way. May not have any purpose. So he becomes... I guess I never bought everything. I remember seeing somewhere that, like, his quest ends... or something like you have to talk to him and you have no souls after buying a lot of stuff from him, maybe all of it. I think that this is the right... That's fine. It's one way to skip the elevator. Oh, because his goal was to be rich. So he achieved his goal and didn't really have a purpose anymore. I think that that's really similar to, like, kind of what happens to Tarnished, potentially. As long as they have a purpose and as long as they keep trying to be Elden Lord, they can see grace. But, grace leaves them if they... Wait. Did the elevator not... That is insane. Okay. But yeah, so I think Grace... They can't see Grace anymore if they're unworthy or don't want to actually be Elden Lord. That's sort of my personal take on it right now. I'm still sort of figuring some of it out. God. I'm, like, terrified of this. I don't want to like, go down on that on accident again. I need to remember the one with, like, the... They're both covered. So this one has little, like, prongs at the top. My impression of grace is that it guides the person, their fate, not necessarily to being Elden Lord. Well, because all the Tarnished were commanded... Well, I think that all the Tarnished were commanded to become Elden Lord, so that is, like, kind of what grace is sent to them to do. Because, like, Marika says, you know, like, I'll give you back what I took. I'll give back what I took from you, and then you'll return and wage war to become Elden Lord. But I get what you're saying, though, because... Well, no, because Corrin... I don't think Corrin still sees grace. And he, finds a purpose in... Or his purpose was to find Goldfinger and then... Gold Mask, and then to become his, like, scribe or whatever. I love gold! Cool. Ouch.
This spot marks our grave.
Could barely see.
But you
I
rest here too.
need to remember not to do that, though. He kind of changes up how he fights obviously in his second phase, so I think I was able to heal in the phase, like, anyway, so I guess, I wonder if, are souls light, or are souls aren't necessarily light, because there's dark souls, like, obviously, like, you... I guess, it's hard to tell if souls are meant to be connected to the concept of light and, like, fire and stuff, or if it's just one way that it is depicted, because I guess, I don't know. No more grace equals no more respawns, lol. Right, exactly. So I kind of saw it as, like... I saw it as something similar to the way that the demigods' runes for, like, great runes were, like, powered down. Like, when we get them from them, it says they're devoid of benediction, which is basically just a god's... Oh, Jesus. A god's blessing. So I think that each demigod that was considered unworthy of becoming Elden Lord was abandoned by grace, and the blessings were taken from their great runes, I think. And I think that grace being taken from the Tarnished is something kind of similar. Like, there's that one guy, the guy that sells prawns, Boggart, whatever. He even says himself, like, why was I called by grace? Doesn't make any... I think he says it doesn't make any sense. Things must be really messed up if people like me are being called... Jesus. I don't know what is with this elevator. I feel like this is the I'm having so much trouble with this one elevator. Close-ish to the end of the game. Yeah, so, but I figured, you know, why give Tarnished the ability to respawn if they're not trying to do what you want them to do anymore and become Elden Lord? If they're, like, that's my take, anyway. Cool. Oh, nice. Like that a lot. Cool. Nice, okay. I think that we can get into phase 2. Oh! I'm very surprised I didn't die. How funny would it have been if I had died like right after saying that? Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm very surprised I didn't die there. That was, I think, when I died. That's what killed me last time. There he is. Alright. How am I barely... well, I guess being shielded. The dude teleported to where, like, 6 feet back from where he was already standing. Ouch. I should have just healed twice. This is... oh my god.
This spot marks our
Okay,
way,
we're getting a little bit closer
but
though.
you may rest here too, if you like.
A couple attacks that I'm still being a little dumb with, but so yeah, I guess I assumed that... I don't even know if it, like... if life... so, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I always assumed that life and souls were, like, souls are the source of life. So... I think something says that, but, like... I guess willpower is what is being consumed by light and dark, but I don't... I kind of thought souls were willpower. Does life, like, cannibalize itself? I don't understand how that works. I forget, are there any soulless things in Dark Souls lore? Hollows, I think, are technically soulless, but, I mean, they drop souls when they die. so I don't... Alright, I'm being dumb right now for some reason. Cool. I was kind of hoping I could stagger him. Yes. All right. Cool. Yikes. Okay. It's that attack again that I'm always slow to defend against. Ooh, was not totally ready for that. Oh, Jesus. Wow. Wow. Damn. Oh, I don't know why that second dodge, if it hadn't happened, I would have been fine. Life is cyclical. If there is, it could probably tell us what makes a soul actually important. I'm gonna say that there's something... So yeah, I mean, we can assume... I think it was hollows, technically, because, like... I think that Gwyn and, you know, basically the first 4 Lord Souls were obtained by something that didn't have souls before. And Gwyn is like, you know, I think he's technically hollowed at the end of Dark Souls 1. He is, right? Like, so I think that not being, or not having a soul is what is being hollow. But it is weird, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just gameplay reasons that... Well, okay, so people go hollow when they lack purpose. So for people, I think last protagonist said that you need darkness for that, which might be because you know, humans' souls are... that humanity is darkness. Darkness strives for light. Darkness strives for, like, life. So it... it is desire, I guess. Oh yeah, because he gave his soul to the fire. Yeah, and all of his attacks are like fire-based when, you know, he was like,
This spot,
damn. His like whole thing
but you
was
may rest here too.
lightning. Like light bolts of the sun's lightning. But he doesn't use any of those. So yeah, it's like he's doesn't have the powers from his soul anymore. So souls are consumed by fire. I guess whether they're dark or not, right? Because Gwyn's wouldn't have been dark. Still fed the flame. But it's weird because in people, is humanity, like, do people have two souls because they have, like, humanity and souls made of souls inside of us? By people, I meant humans. Dark Souls 1, there's 2 kinds of souls in people. Really? Where does it, do you mind, telling me, like, I guess, like, something I can look up for that, so that I can, like, start doing some researching? Because I've, like, been going around reading a bunch of, like, item descriptions and stuff, but I'm still obviously trying to, like, get everything into my brain. Oops. Yeah, that's not good. Oh my god. That was interesting. It was like a golden soul spear or something. Alright. Nice, maybe I can... I don't like where this is going. That was just kind of dumb. I didn't notice that Lorien, or Lothric, helps him make that blade when he's on his back. He sort of...
Dear brother.
Ooh my god, that was just Barely, barely. This is it.
My words, Ashen One.
So Lorien does die when Lothric dies.
Among the accursed.
The Lothric bloodline was obsessed with creating a worthy heir, and when this proved impossible, resorted to unspeakable means. Suffice it to say, the path to linking the fire is a cursed one indeed. Resorted to unspeakable means. What unspeakable means? Oh, okay, right. So there's a lot of stuff. Okay, blah, blah, blah. You can dark hand NPCs for humanity for a limited number of times, and then there's just the souls they drop when they die. Oh, that's right. There's like the darkness sprites inside people or whatever. In the same way, Gwyn
Welcome home.
gave his soul to the first flame, I'd argue we bind our souls to the bonfires, and when we die...
Very well, then touch take
Hold
9.
on, can I level up? Yes.
Let these souls withdrawn
That's awesome. Yeah, more stamina.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flame.
We lose our soul and return to bonfire. Oh yeah, actually, the dark soul or whatever. Sorry, the cursed mark. Dark sign. There we go. So yeah, the dark sign is a consumable item that we can use to return to the bonfire. This technically activates when we die, and I think it's like the same thing in Elden Ring. We get like this item, Memory of Grace or something like that, and it is what's activating and bringing us back to life. Interesting, so we're losing the Memory of Grace, and that means we can't see it anymore. And I think that souls contain memories in Elden Rings. Anyway. Oh, right, I need to soul it up. Or cinder it up. This might have to do with the Dark Souls 2 intro, where the protag is called back to his home after dying and hollowing. After all, homeward states... Oh, whoops. Am I... Hold on. That should have been the... Yeah. Holy King Lothric. Why can't I put the ashes here? Do I need to talk to...
Welcome home. Speak. Ashen One, has the little Lord Ludleth spoken to thee of any curious matters? I sense that he possesseth some knowledge
I see.
of a thing once most precious, or most terrible, now lost to the firekeepers.
Most precious or most terrible, now lost to firekeepers. Light?
Is it a matter of which I should... Farewell?
After all, homeward states that the bonfires are an undead's home. Humanity is a piece of the dark soul, which is one of the 4 original souls. Yes, yeah. And, like, I guess offspring all have pieces of, you know, the original man's, dark soul.
Aha, thou returned.
No idea where I was going with that, just thinking out loud. Doubt the concept of a home would actually be important to how souls work. The idea of being drawn to life when we have, like, when we're hollow. Like, hollows are drawn to life, like, or drawn to light, like moth to a flame, like, So, that is, I think, sort of along the lines of what's happening. You know, we're kind of being drawn back to life no matter how many times we die, just because we have something stopping us from dying. I'll laugh if Nicola ends up having the same voice actor as Lothric. Yeah, same.
Ah, most illustrious Lord Seeker. Fine kindling for the thrones, is it? And all slain? Oh, aye, in fact, we... Ah, most and all slain? Oh, in...
So, does he or does he not have something important to say?
Now.
Maybe I need to reload the area.
Welcome home, I speak. Ashen One has the little scent of a thing once prayed. Farewell, maiden.
Okay.
Aha, thou so. Ah, and all? Oh, in fact...
Do I have to buy something from him? I do kind of want to buy something from one of those princes. Like okay, yeah. Like this. Is there another item? Soul of the Twin Princes? Lothric's Holy Sword. Blessed by Emma with potent magic. Who is Emma? Young Lothric was meant to be a champion and expected to wield this platinum sword, but some things will remain distant dreams forever. Cast in smoldering molten steel and stained black. I'm gonna take this, that's pretty cool. Before Lorien embraced his brother's curse, he was a knight who single-handedly slayed the demon prince. The victory eternally scorched his sword with flame. Wait, which demon prince? This? Oh. There's something else? Demon prince. Anyway, I'll look into that more later.
She is much like thee. Prisoners both, kept to link the fire. Aha, that's so. Ah, and oh, in now.
Okay, so maybe I will try, like, reloading the area like that. Emma is the person that dies. Oh, right before the dancer boss fight. That's right. Also was Lothric's wet nurse. I remember someone like that sort of being mentioned.
Aha, so. Ah, and oh.
Okay, maybe I am supposed to return the cinders and just didn't do something right? Jesus Christ. Because I wasn't standing in front of it. I was just standing in front of it. Okay, so...
The five lords sit there, five for all thanks to thee, Ashen One. With the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee afore the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lord's embers acknowledge thee as their true heir, a true lord, fit to link the fire. Farewell, Ash, may the flame.
Farewell, okay. Let me... I want to see if what's-his-name is back. So are you trying to get the Lord of Hollows Ending blind? More or less. I think I've already done everything I need to do, but I don't know anything about, like, what actually happens. Can I ask if you've done certain steps? I have, like, all 8 Dark Sigils, so I've killed... What's-her-name? You do the wedding and all? Yeah.
Ah, thine heart is fixed upon the linking of the fire, but brave usurper,
Yeah,
I
so
prithee, wrest the flame from it, so that we hollows, in most honest shape of man, may have it for our own.
just honest shape of man.
O Lord, and I prithee, when the moment cometh, the age of the gods
So
are
most honest shape of man.
honorable, so that we
I can't tell if that's saying hollows are beings of darkness or empty, or if that's different. Summon Yuria for the fight. If she survives, you'll get her dark. Oh, cool.
noble lords of Cinder,
So
the fire fades.
their
And the
cinders.
lords go without thrones.
Oh, I see. They have to be here to acknowledge a new heir, but whether or not they're
Surrender your fire
conscious and alive is irrelevant.
to the true heir.
I'm inheriting that from them. So wait, would that mean that they're all descendants of one thing? Because so I think you can get it just by killing her. Challenge is more fun. Yeah, I was thinking about like how I was gonna keep her alive in that fight. And then she lets what ashes fall on us? Are the ashes from her burning or just fire residue? I know the ashes have strength in like Elden Ring. And
Let him grant death. To the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
you know, I guess in Dark Souls 1, it is a little bit more clear that like the thing that we're giving these fires is darkness, or the thing that's what feeds the fires and kindles it, because we're giving it humanity, like literally stoking it. No unkindled can ever truly claim the enders that burn within champion's bosom, which is precisely what makes their yearning for warmth so keen. Basically saying, yeah, like, same reason, darkness, whatever. Crazy she actually knows what Lordran is, considering like, the millions of years since then. I do think that Firekeepers can see things that, like... Wait, hold on. I think that they might, like, have knowledge and... Yeah, basically, yeah, they see things that other people don't. Like, they might have access to knowledge that other people can't handle. Something like that. That is such a beautiful shot, and also really, really reminds me of... Oh, the dreg heap's right there. It really reminds me of the Shadow of the Erd Tree. Oh, that's annoying. That goes to the dreg heap. Wait, oh, no it doesn't. What? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. There's like other stuff. I remember there's so many other things around the Flameless Shrine. Yo, back. What's up, last protagonist? If I remember correctly, there was like a whole other set of like you can fight Gundyr again or something? Am I tripping? Why do... Must be out here. Oh, it's out... No? Okay. Different locations, son. Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Different location. I don't even remember how I did that last time, then. Alright. So I need to... There. Is that it? No. Where is the summon? There's a third version of Firelink that you're referring to? Right, and I remember that it's like sunless or something like that, or there's lightless, whatever. Oh, by fighting Osiros, gotcha. Interesting. Okay, well I need to go back and fight him again later then. Good. Alright. Oh my god, is she gonna help? Interesting, so he's wielding it like... Yo, that looks so much like the Karian Regal Scepter. And he is using... That was interesting timing. That looks so much like Renala's source... Or, the coiled sword looks a lot like Renala's staff. Okay. I didn't remember him doing that in my last playthrough, but, whatevs. Okay, Gwyn. You still in there? I guess that's a response. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. That felt like one of Manus's combos. That didn't do that much damage. Its shape changes on his mode. Oh! Wonder if the coiled sword will return in Shadow of Erdtree since it was seen in Elden Ring promotional art, never in game. I did not know that. E.g., now her set and weapon will be in Firelink where she was standing. Good to know. Alright, so do I just link the first flame, or is there like some other thing I need to do? Pay attention. Okay, yeah, I'm like, I don't want to just like link the... Okay, just link it. Okay. Thought he was holding it in his hand for a second. Well, you're no Frampton Caith, but you'll do.
Gracious Lord, make Londor whole.
That was... Oh, Henri is in the background. It did rise with him? Okay. It's like he put it in the sky then. We might have just, like, witnessed him, like, putting it back in the sky after... No. You usurped the flame. What that means, no one knows. From what I would guess, and from what I just saw, and this might be somewhat altered by my my perception of this might be altered a little bit by Elden Ring, but it almost feels like they redefined light itself, rather than relinking the flame of the gods over and over and over again, keeping that kindled.
How may I be
They
of service?
took it and made the flame theirs. They created a new order itself, an order of silver, whatever. Like, it's really... Order of... Not sure yet.
Ashen One.
Throwing the souls of the first flame into the giant sky dark sign would be very disrespectful. The gods' law. Sounds like something Londor would do. Oh right, check where Yuria was standing. So if you just go to your next journey right away, do you miss out on those items? Did I skip it? Let's see. Where are the katanas? There we go. Cursed sword with an unseen blade. Choice weapon of Yuria of Londor. Yuria, a mentor of the Sable Church, accomplished swordswoman, is said to have claimed 100 lives with this weapon. Then where is her... There. Attire of the 3 mentors of the Sable Church of Londor. Okay, there were 3 back there. The build mask belongs to Yuria, the second eldest. These maidens of a primordial serpent were renowned as founders of the Sable Church, which offered salvation for hollows. Interesting. Maidens of Primordial Serpent. So Caith. Definitely Caith. I don't even know. Is it Cath? Caith? He's the only one that would want this sort of... He was the Primordial Serpent that we know of that would really desire this darkness sort of to rule. Like Cod. Koth? Yuria and Frida. Frida was her sister? I see. That... on her full name is Elfrida, I guess. Leader of the Sable Church, bestowed the sword to her knight. Rita also has special words for you if you've met Yuria, if I remember correctly. Oh, she has special dialogue after. Interesting. It was cast at Sable Church, so we can assume it's just headed by Yuria and the other sister now. But what's interesting is there were 3 sisters at the end there. I wonder if, like, during the ending or whatever, she is, like, forced to return to her post or something along those lines.
Asher for the very well. Then touch take no.
Oh wow, I need a lot more than that.
Ash for the very well. Then
There we go.
Ashen one.
So now I want to go see Osiris, whatever. We never meet Liliane. Frida also has special word. Frida was cast out. Only 2 sisters plus Henri. Oh, okay. I must have mistaken hers for one of the sisters. Yeah, but it almost seems like it kind of reminds me of Ronnie's ending, a little bit. Like they sort of take down the old order entirely and redefine it with this sort of new light, like new fire, like a whole other kind of life. It seemed like. I'm not 100% sure what that means, though. Like, does that just make humans like the new kinds of gods in a way that would, gross, no, I'm not. Because the gods were, I think they were called, like, beings of fire. And they, I assume, didn't age. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if other characters age. It's probably a tricky subject. Jesus Christ. I really wish the main foundation of All Souls lore wasn't the most vague thing in it. For real. That would be nice. Yeah, this is in America's bedchamber. That symbol. Oh, did not mean to jump down here. Okay, so right, the gods were beings of, like, fire, but they were also, like, kind of susceptible to the influence of dark. They couldn't go to, like, certain places without, like, protection, like Artorias. So I have to... Oh, God. Like, or, sorry, they weren't susceptible to the influence of dark, per se, as much as they were corrupted by it, or they could be corrupted by it. So I'm almost wondering if, like, it makes the darkness within humanity, like, sort of takes the place of fire, and the meaning of darkness is sort of redefined as something else that would not, like, would be the opposite of humans, like anti-dark. Okay. Just looked it up again. Frida has dialogue referring to you as the Lord of Londor if you're on that path. And you talk to her before she moves to boss mode. Oh, gotcha. See, what I found...
You ignorant slaves. Finally taken notice, have you? Of the power of my beloved Ocelot, child of dragons. Well, I will not give him up. For he is all that I have.
Does he see something that I don't see? Or is he hallucinating? That's a baby. I hear it. Inverted Murgo and Wet Nurse.
Dear little Ocelot, where have you gone? Are you hiding from me? Come out.
Now he...
Come out. Don't be afraid. You were born a child of dragons. What could you possibly fear? Now, show yourself, Ocelot. My dear little Ocelot.
He becomes more lucid? Because he was asleep. I'm waking him up. The child was a dream. Child of dragons. It was the child that they wanted, the worthy heir that they were trying to get that they never could. It's really, really difficult, but Osiros can curse you too. Less lucid, stops using magic, attacks more wildly. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like he's awakening from like a peaceful slumber to like reality, and he's becoming more frantic as he's like, oh god, let me go back to sleep. Osiros and Ocelot are really mysterious, but I think it's intentional. It could be that Ocelot invisible like Priscilla, but it also sounds like the baby sounds or something that Osiris himself makes. I think that it's a dream of Ocelot, or of Osiros's, and that he is sort of manifesting something like that in his... I think maybe like his dreams might be like manifesting a little bit, like partially in our world, but like it's... I'm gonna go ahead and go with, like, I think it's his dream. Went mad trying to harness his royal blood for greater purpose, leading him to the heretics of the Grand Archives, where he discovered the twisted worship of Seath the Pale Drake. So he went mad before interacting with all the Seath stuff. That's... Let's add a whole bunch of crazy onto someone that has already lost it.
For the link. Very well. Then take note.
Originally he did have a baby, but they decided that smashing a baby into the ground was a bit much. Cowards.
Ashen One.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with royal blood, child of dragons. What could you have to fear, right? Because the child that he would want. Okay, so they. Yeah, no, I think that that was the child that they wanted to have. That the royal, because he said you're a child of dragons, which means that he was trying, especially if he's doing all this weird Seath stuff. Um. So, because an everlasting dragon, like they came from a time where life and death had no distinction, so they wouldn't feel. I don't think that they would feel emotions because there would be, there's nothing to fear or there's nothing to desire. You don't need anything to like. If you're everlasting, if you're everlasting, you don't have to worry about anything happening. You'll still be there, lasting, everly. One sec. So the interesting thing is, he says his royal blood. And then, so I'm kind of wondering if they're somehow children of. Well, no, that doesn't. Maybe he was trying. That's what Priscilla was, right? Priscilla was an attempt to mix a, a god with like a dragon, right? Maybe he was trying to do something like that too. You remember Irithyll Dungeon? Oh, that's right, all the failed experiments. What exactly were those things again? I mean, I know that they were things that were... They were experiments meant to turn things... The dragon tailbone... Yes, yes. Got that really weird shape, too. Crafted from a feeble tailbone, seen as a sign of the dragons. Your screams are oft heard inside the dungeon as they naively mutilate their unworthy flesh. Dragon tailbone spear. Might not have one of those. I don't think I do. Shoot. Yeah. Oh, short sworder's fine. Tailbone spear is more rare drop. Gotcha. So, they... Are they people that wanted to be dragons, but are unable to? Like, because they're unworthy for some reason? Like, is that related to the fact that the path of dragons is something that people are seemingly walking nearby? Priscilla, Crossbead, Seath, and yeah, I mean, I think I remember reading that Seath might have had something to do with Priscilla, since, ice and dragon and stuff, but I don't know about Guinevere. Oh, gotcha. Oh, no, that's right. The thing about Guinevere, because the maidens. The maidens with the bountiful... The Guinevere, miracles. I almost kind of wondered if, like, he was finding maidens that had very, very strong light. And... Or, like, sort of like Firekeepers, sort of. I'm wondering if he was studying the effects of, like, darkness and how it's drawn to light. Like, he might have been finding maidens that had very strong sources of light that would draw in darkness for him or something to study. Maybe he was studying... Well, he would have been studying the immortality of... Fun fact, the tailbone weapons upgrade with Titanite scale instead of regular Titanite. Oh, yeah, don't, a lot of, all the dragon weapons do, right? Or, wait, wrong game. Daughter of Crystal Remhill? Amazing. Oh, I thought she got knocked off the edge. That's too bad. No. I need to stop falling for that. Oh my god. She's got some sorceries. Cool. Get parried, nerd. I know, right? It's like shocking when an NPC parries you. I feel so disrespected. And I feel like I'm falling for it every time, too. It's not like I just had no way they were going to parry. They usually set up with some... So is this also a dream or something? Like, how am I in a different world right now? Because I feel like that's what is going on, right? Isn't this just like a sort of different reality? I think that if that is what's going on, it might be proof of the fact that, who's on the cliffside, channel your inner patches. Okay, for real, I thought about kicking her, but I was worried that I would, get too fixated on trying to do the kick and end up just, like, getting killed. Champion Gundyr. More like, I'm a Gundai. Hooray! Interesting. Okay. Not good. Shit. That's it. Alright. Welp. It is 8:01, so I guess I gotta end on getting my ass stomped. In the most disrespectful way possible. This fight can be relatively trivialized if you learn to parry him. What the hell is a parry? Don't start making up stuff, you're just speaking gibberish. Anyway, it's 8:02, so I am going to wrap things up and look up some stuff about light and darkness in this game, because I am starting to get some ideas. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Probably gonna play Elden Ring Friday, just as a heads up.